This is the Moto G Play 2026 and the Moto G 2026. Now both of these devices we are expecting to see launched in January. That's when we saw the 2012 models announced just earlier this year in January, around January 30th, so when they started launching. So expecting the same thing with the Moto G Play and the Moto G 2026 models. Now as far as specs go for the Moto G Play 2026, we're looking at a 6.7 inch 120Hz display that'll go from 60 to 120Hz. So it's not going to be LTPO, but it will be variable a little bit, and you'll be able to switch it to 60Hz to get even better battery life. It'll also have peak brightness of up to about 1000 nits, and Corning Gorilla Glass 3 that will help protect that phone's display. Under the hood, there will be the MediaTek Dimensity 6300, which is going to power both devices actually, and it'll come with 4GB of RAM with up to 12GB using RAM boost. So that's going to be about 8GB taken away from your storage to be used for RAM boost, which is typically a bit slower because it's virtual RAM, but it is nice to have when you do need it. It'll have 64GB of UFS 2.2 storage, which is quite old, but again, looking at the price of this device, this is not that surprising. And there is a micro SD card slot available for expanding storage. Now there will be a 32 megapixel camera on the backside, which will use quad pixel technology. This is technology that we've seen Motorola using for well over a decade. I think they were even using this when Google owned them. And on the front, there will be an 8 megapixel front facing camera. The rear camera is going to have support for all kinds of different camera features. That includes hyperlapse, time lapse, slow motion, auto smile capture, dual capture, night vision, portrait mode, and face retouch. Now inside it will have a 5200 mAh battery with turbo power 18 charger, which is a little bit surprising to see Motorola using the turbo power name for something as low as 18 watt charging. Because typically this is used for 60 or higher watt charging. But 18 watt charging on a phone that's probably going to be under $200 is not too bad. Especially since we do have Dolby Atmos support and high-res audio with the stereo speakers on the Moto G Play. Now moving on to the Moto G, a lot of the specs here are going to be exactly the same. So you still have a 6.7 inch HD Plus display with 120Hz refresh rate. Now, just like the Moto G Play, it is also going to jump between 60 and 120Hz, so it's not LTPO, but you'll be able to change the refresh rate to 60Hz to conserve your battery life. Peak brightness is also going to be 1000 nits, and it'll also be protected by Gorilla Glass 3. Now, under the hood, it will also have the MediaTek Dimensity 6300, which is a 6nm chip with 5G support. It'll also have 4GB of RAM with the RAM boost feature that'll get you up to 12GB, taking a storage away to help boost the RAM. It'll ship with 128GB of storage, which is going to be UFS 2.2 as well. Again, it's quite slow, but 128GB for what this is probably going to retail for is not bad at all. It'll also have a 5200 mAh battery with turbo power 30, so it'll be slightly faster charging than the Moto G Play. Though we probably won't see that big of a difference in the charging speed, because when we look at the 18 watts and 30 watts, it's really only going to hit that speed for a very short amount of time. Now in the back, it'll have a 50 megapixel main camera, which is using quad pixel technology as well. And there'll also be a dedicated macro vision camera on the phone with a 32 megapixel front facing camera for selfies. It'll also have a ton of different video modes available on that 50 megapixel sensor, which includes hyperlapse, time lapse, slow motion, auto smile capture, dual capture, night vision, portrait mode, and face retouch. So that's the Moto G Play and Moto G for 2026. Now, as we mentioned, we do expect these to launch, at least in the US, in January. They could launch in India and a few other countries out east before next year, as we do see that quite a bit with Motorola and their different devices. But if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.